Hi, and welcome to Canopy Trimming 101. And as you can see, we have a T-Rex canopy and an X-Acto knife, and that's basically all we need here. Now, I've over the years of trimming several of these, I've developed this way to do it. I've tried many different ways. I've read online about other people doing it using scissors and just carefully sawing at it with the X-Acto and that kind of thing. And what I found is this procedure here seems to do the best, and it's real easy actually, and less risk of cutting yourself. So with that, let's get started. I like to do sections at a time rather than try and do the whole thing all in one fell swoop. So what I'll show first, and I won't spend the whole video doing the whole thing, but you'll get the idea just by doing, for instance, this flashing off the back of the canopy here. So we're just going to do this section first. So the first step is I take the X-Acto and I just put a slice so that I've sectioned off that, and then I'll come down here to the bottom and I'll do the same thing here so that now I've sectioned off this piece that I want to do. And then basically it's just simple. You just take the X-Acto blade and put it in the groove here of the molding and just scribe it. You don't have to use a lot of pressure, just scribe it. You're not hacking at this thing. Just scribe it and make about 10 scribes. Sure, it takes a little bit of time. Make 10 scribes, just keep scribing it, scribing it, scribing it. You'll find some areas of the canopy are thinner than others, so you might actually go through, and you really don't want to do that because if you go through and the knife slips, you might wind up cutting into the canopy. So you just scribe it, and once you get that scribe line, this plastic is kind of brittle, and basically what you can do is you just take it and you snap where you scribed just by folding the plastic back. You might have to fold it back and forth a couple of times, but you fold it back, and voila! There you have a nice, clean cut line. You may have a little bit of burrs, but once we do the whole canopy, you just take a little bit of sandpaper and sand off any little bit of flashing that may still be sticking out. But seriously, that makes a very, very clean line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other sections. As a matter of fact, in one section here I am going to show how to do this top part since the flashing's a little different there. But I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this and return with the next steps. Okay, so I've basically trimmed all of this just like I showed in the previous step. Scribe it, fold it, do it back. This area is a little more complex because of the curve. But basically, it's pretty much the same principle. But what I do is do it in sections. Now you got to watch out because it's usually pretty thin here. But you just go ahead and you make your scribes. You just keep scribing. If you go again, if you see like I went too far there and went through, you have to be careful because it is thin here. All right, and then once you do one section, then you do this rounded section and do it slowly. You're just making scribe lines, just very slowly. Very slowly, and then we go to the other side and we do the other side. Scribe. Again, you kind of get a feel for how much to scribe based on how thick the plastic is as you do it, and then around the corner slowly. You're not putting a lot of force here so that your blade slips and cuts you. It's just a little bit. Now right here through the seam you want to apply a little bit more pressure, okay? Once you've made the scribes, what I do is I start on one end, I do the fold trick, just keep going, and fold it, and usually you'll just snap right off. If not, as you see this piece, you just fold it once over and once back, and off it comes. And as you can see, once again, very clean, very nice line, no cuts in your canopy, and again, a little bit of sandpaper you might use on these little corners and trim off any little burrs you have. Okay, so the next step, what we're going to do is something I notice a lot of T-Rex guys don't do, mainly because of the trouble, is these inside areas where, I don't know if people are using scissors or whatever, but it looks very difficult to do. I personally like to open these up. You get airflow into the canopy for the batteries. Same with this bottom opening here. I open this up, mainly because I like to put my battery packs on the bird, put the canopy on, have both connectors hanging out. When I'm ready to fly, I plug in and just tuck them up in there. So the next step, I'll show you how to trim these, and you would, after this, if you want to remove the windshield area, you can. The canopy is usually stronger with the windshield area still on there. However, I like to remove it and either use the that 3K carbon paint windshield or the clear windshield. So I usually do like to remove this. But I'm going to show you on these two, and the process for removing this is identical to removing these two. As a matter of fact, this is easier because it's so much bigger. It's these little areas that are harder to remove. Okay, so with that, be right back with the next step. Okay, so this step is we're going to show how to remove these smaller areas. The process for doing this is the same if you want to open up the bottom or the windshield. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this piece here. The plastic's usually thicker in this area of the canopy or the other areas of canopy than it is out on the flashing here. But the process is basically similar. One thing I didn't mention when I started, I always start with a brand new X-Acto knife. We're making scribes here, and we want the knife to actually cut scribes in the plastic. So use a brand new blade. So basically the process is the same. Just follow the mold line. Make the scribe. Now the plastic's a little thicker here, so you might want to use a little more pressure, but once again you don't want to go through. So you just keep scribing. Scribing. You'll feel the scribe get deeper. Again, it's something that comes with a little bit of practice, but it's fairly easy. So you just keep scribing. You want your scribes to cross over here, so you're actually getting around the whole section. As a matter of fact, I may just scribe right here just a little bit and just keep scribing. Okay, once you get the scribe deep enough, you're ready to basically do the same trick I did with the side. The difference is here is you want to support the plastic, so you put your thumb where the seam is, and on the inside you push out. Okay, and you see how that snapped? You might have to push back in. Okay, and you can use your fingernail actually to push on the scribe lines to snap it better. Then once you get it, you get your thumb, grabbed hold of the plastic, and you fold the other portion back. And as you can see, basically, got that piece right out of there very cleanly, very nice line. If you want, and you still got a little bit of flashing, this is a little harder to sand in here, you can use your X-Acto blade to just clean up any little bit of plastic burrs, and maybe get in there with a little bit of sandpaper and clean it up. But basically, you see how easy that was to remove that vent? I did it in just a couple of minutes. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and remove this, and I am going to remove the windshield, and when I come back I'll show you the finished canopy. Okay, rather than finish the canopy, I decided that there was another area that needed some attention here. When I did this piece, I realized it's a little more difficult. The plastic's a lot thicker here. Where the mold seam, the two halves comes together, you go ahead and scribe this, but you probably want to take the X-Acto and actually push it through and cut right in this area. Now because this is such a flat area, it's not easy to press and fold the plastic to try and get that scribe line that you scribed to snap. So what you might want to do is just keep scribing until you actually do go through the canopy for about an inch or so. Once you get that, then you can snap, and once the plastic snaps, you can actually get a flap going where you can see there, and then push, and as you see, once you get it moving, it will pop right out. The process will be about the same for the windshield. You'll want to cut through where this mold seam is and here, just by using your X-Acto and pushing down and coming through. You'll scribe the line all through the windshield here, and the best place to get the plastic to start snapping is about right here in the middle. So you might want to scribe through just a little bit here. Again, the plastic's thicker, so if when you scribe through, you don't have to worry too much about the blade slipping and slicing your canopy. But you might want to scribe through for about an inch just to get the start, and then when you fold, the plastic will snap, and you'll be able to grab hold of the windshield and work it off and push it off with your fingernail. Anyway, so bottom line, that's Canopy 101. As you can see, in a very short period of time, I trimmed up this entire canopy. Of course, I didn't finish the windshield yet, but you saw I did all these very quickly, the bottom opening, the side openings. So I think this process is fairly safe and fairly easy to do and make some very quick lines. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and enjoy.